Today I'm speaking with Maria Victoria Albina. She is a master certified somatic life coach, and she's a breathwork meditation teacher as well. And today we're talking about somatics, as in how do we drop into our body in a way that stops us living from the neck up, so that we can have a much more grounded, confident experience of life. So enjoy. Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to the podcast for this week. This week, we're talking about a subject that you may not actually know what it is, but it's very important when it comes to our health and handling stress and how we navigate through life. So to help me talk about this particular subject, I want you to welcome Maria Victoria Albina to the podcast. Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I am fantastic. So the subject we're going to be talking about today is semantics.
Yes.
Now, semantics, when I think of semantics, I'm like, does that mean like I say something, but I mean something else?
So that's semantics, not somatics.
Oh,
You're
somatics,
cute.
right.
That was funny.
So let's talk. Well, first of all, can you get you to explain what this is? Because I think it's something that's very important.
Thank you.
For all
I would
of us.
agree. Yeah,
yes.
For sure. So somatics the term comes from the Greek soma, which means body. And so somatics are the collection of modalities that help us to connect and reconnect with our bodies and our emotions, our felt experience, our authenticity, our grounding, our sense of self as located in the body. And this is a really important place to work because so many of us live our lives from the neck up, completely, right? So disconnected from our bodies. I ask my clients all the time, like, what emotion are you feeling? And they say, well, I just kind of feel like he was rude and like he really shouldn't have said that. And I'm like, oh, baby, that's a story, not an emotion, right?
Yeah, right.
And so somatic practices help us to relocate ourselves within our bodies, which is particularly important for humans socialized as women in the patriarchy, because we are trained, inculcated. It is of vital importance to the patriarchy that we be disconnected from ourselves and our bodies, right? Or we couldn't be part and parcel to the systems of oppression that impact us all. And so the less we are in our bodies, the easier we are to manipulate, right?
Yeah. But and I think that's important for everyone right now.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we have become disconnected, and I think that we get lost, especially if we're spending too much time online and we're on social media platforms, and don't even get me started. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we kind of just get lost in the hours and the days and the whatever that's going past without really dropping in.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? Like, how do we get in, more in tune with ourselves and our bodies?
Yeah. Well, it starts first with recognizing our disconnection, right? So you don't know to go outside with an umbrella if you don't know it's raining. So taking that really honest look at ourselves and how we're living. I think often people will think, oh, no, I'm a runner. I'm totally connected. Oh, no, I go to yoga, right? Like I go to yoga and they play like all that fun club music and like I do all the poses, right? So I'm connected, and I'm not dissing running or yoga. I did them both this morning. But what I'm saying is we can have this sort of almost false consciousness in which we think we're connected with ourselves because we're engaging in movement. But somatic practices, that deep connection with our authenticity, is so much more than just movement. It's about really coming into a place of being our own watcher, where we can recognize our nervous system and its response, or its reaction rather, and can then choose to respond or react in turn. So a quickie little example in case people are like, oh, what are you talking about? All of this, right? And I'm a teacher, I was a professor, I come from the academy, and I can get a little heady, I know it. So examples help to ground it. So 2 weeks ago, something happened. Somebody, said something that was really activating to my nervous system. And later that evening, I was telling my partner about it. And I felt like, as I was talking about it, I felt this like almost rage well up inside me. My nervous system got really activated and I was getting really PO'd. And I just was really like, oh. And there was this old way of thinking, this old way of reacting that came up that was like, throw something, break something, scream. Right. And that was my nervous system wanting to release all that, what's called sympathetic activation, right? Adrenaline, norepinephrine, cortisol. I know you all talk about this. It wanted to complete that stress activation, but in an aggressive form, in an aggressive way, right? Breaking something, throwing a plate, which is that was my childhood experience of what we did with anger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that early childhood experience was imprinted in me. My body believed that was the right way, the most productive way, the most effective way to complete this energy. And had I not spent the last decade in somatic practice, getting to know myself, learning to regulate my nervous system, learning to be in touch with my true self, my authentic self, my integrity, I probably would have thrown a plate, would have triggered the hell out of my poor, sweet, amazing partner, right? Would have made this whole scene, would have acted out of my dignity, outside of my integrity, right? And not have been the me I am so proud to be now.
Right.
Right. And because of all this work, I was able to say to her out loud, here's what's coming up. This is what this impulse inside me wants to do. I'm going to excuse myself and find a healthier way to manage this. I'll be back in 5. And I went downstairs. I put music on. I danced it out. Right. I worked through it. I had a really good cry. And I came back upstairs, the kind of dignified partner I want to be in my life.
Right. So where is this stored? Because what you've described sounds like a body reaction, not a mind reaction.
Yeah.
Not a reaction. So what is that? Where is that coming from?
Oh, I love that question. I love how you asked it. So in the nervous system world, we say the issues are in the tissues. And I had a client probably about 5 years ago who looked at me and she was like, do you mean that there's anger in my elbows? Like, what are you talking about, woman? And I was like, fair enough. Fair enough. There's not sadness in your glutes, maybe, or irritation in your kneecaps. So it's sort of more in the energetics of the system. Yeah. In sort of the whole of our human bodies. And so one, it's sort of in that whole energetic level of, because the nervous system touches literally every cell in the body. And 2, if we look at the work, for example, of Pat Ogden, I trained with her in sensory motor psychotherapy as a coach. We look at posture. And so we look at the ways we hold ourselves, and are we holding our body in a way that feels grounded, centered? Again, I'm going to keep coming back to the word dignity, in which we are standing tall in ourselves, or are we collapsed against the world? Right? Is our back rounded to protect us against the world? Are our hands up? Right? How are we standing in relationship to the world, the environment, and self? Right? Are we on our tiptoes punching upwards? Or are we crouched down and collapse? And so you both, to answer this question and the previous, how do we start to build this somatic wellness and awareness and practice? Start to look at your posture. How do you hold yourself in relation to different people, different relationships, different roles, different moments, different expectations, different obligations, different stories? This is not some sort of ableist story that says there's some right way to have posture, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, starting from your baseline, which is the only baseline that matters. How do you change and shift? How do you chameleon yourself to be acceptable in the world? Do people please? Right? Where do you collapse inward? Where do you shrink back? Where do you puff up your chest? Not in a I'm in my strength, but in a don't mess with me, I'm attacking first, or right kind of way. How are you relating through your physical body with the world? And what is that telling you about you and your worth, your value? Oh, he's never going to respect me anyway, so I'll just collapse into myself. Oh man, that story hurts, right?
Yeah.
Ouch. And I realized it myself. Like there were definitely, white cis straight dudes in authority. My back would roll, right? It would collapse and crunch down, or I would puff up and try to like prove to them, particularly, because I come from medicine. I'm a nurse practitioner. I come from Western medicine. I'm going to puff myself up and prove to you that I am incredibly, very much smart. And I'm going to say lots of smart science words. But that wasn't me. Neither was my authenticity.
Right.
Right. It was me trying to like prove something, and I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what I also do know is that that emotions have a certain chemical makeup.
Sure. Yeah.
And our cells do get addicted to a certain chemical if we are feeling this emotion on a regular basis. If that emotion is not just an emotion, if it becomes a mood, if it becomes kind of who we are. So I'm wondering if that ties epigenetically, does it tie into what we're talking about here?
Yeah. So I wouldn't use the word addicted. I try to be really careful with that word just because of the baggage it carries and because of what it means biologically, right? That there becomes that cellular imperative. I think it's more that it becomes normalized and we become habituated to a certain biochemical experience, and that gets tied to safety.
Right.
So remember, as human mammals, the one and only thing we want, right, is safety. Right. Which usually is based in significance and belonging. Do we matter to our village? Do they care about us? Meaning, when the lions come and the marauders come, will someone put us on their hip and run far out of the village with us, right? Like, will we be protected? Yeah.
Right.
So, because we know, I mean, you and I, we're very small mammals compared to a rhino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're tiny. We need other mammals. So, safety is everything. And so, when we look at our autonomic nervous system, the automatic nervous system, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, I know your listeners know this super well from all of your amazing teaching on it. Our nervous system gets that initial setting, ages 0 to 7.
Right.
We can get more training. We can learn that new things are scary at age 9, right? If a dog jumps out of a bush and scares your pants off, that new nervous system setting will be created. And so too, we can heal the nervous system throughout our lifetime. And the initial story of what's safe and what's not, what makes us lovable and not, worthy and not, is 0 to 7. Those early childhood. Also, just side note for the witchy amongst us, that is also when our chakra system gets its initial coding. Do with that what you will.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. My work is I say it's where the science and the sacred meet.
I love that.
I think they both matter, right? So,
well, and they are connected. I mean,
oh my God, right?
So.
Yeah, you're either calling it quantum physics or you're calling it chakras, but like, come on now.
Same. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Oh, you are so fun. Exactly. So, well, I think I lost the question. I got too excited. Natalie.
Yeah. So we were talking about how emotions, how the body can, habitually, and it sounds like familiarity. Yes. It's like, oh, this is familiar. I like this. I want more of it. Yeah.
Listen, as a kiddo, I was a chaos monkey. I would like create drama. Oh my, this story is amazing. Once, and I think readers or listeners will be like, oh, I do that. I lived in this like sort of smallish community and like was really close with all my neighbors. And I hadn't heard from one of the gals who I often garden with, walk the dogs with, for like 2 weeks. And I was like, I had been texting her a bit and called a couple times. I was like, that's really weird. And then my brain, that was so enamored of the story, that drama keeps me safe because it keeps me top of mind for people because I'm not sure of my worth. So if I keep drama alive and keep things sort of like chaotic and stressful, then I'll be safe because then I'll know that people actually care about me. That part of the brain. Yeah. We're familiar with
that old chestnut.
Right. That old cutie pie. I wrote to her and I was like, Kate, I just was wondering if I did something wrong, if you're like upset with me. Are you mad at me? Did I like mess up? I'm really, really sorry if I did. I don't know what I did, but I haven't heard back from you in 2 weeks. And like, I'm really, really sorry. I must have like totally messed up. And she immediately wrote back, girl, my grandmother died. I've been in Florida for 2 weeks cleaning out a condo. Like, take a breath.
Right.
In parentheses, you're not that important in a great way. Do you know what I mean? And so that was my nervous system setting from childhood. I'm not going to get the attention I want and need around here unless I'm on fire, unless there's a problem, unless I'm sick, unless it's huge. So I need to make things huge to get care and attention, to get significance and belonging, which boil down to safety in the nervous system. So oh, Natalie, the drama and chaos I created unwittingly. Like I had no idea what I was doing. I was in my 20s and early 30s, and praise be the 40s, right? Because now we can see.
Let's say that we recognize and we do some work and we go, okay, this is a pattern that comes up a lot for me.
Right.
What do we do about it?
Yeah. So we start with that awareness we were talking about, see if it's raining, get yourself an umbrella, start to listen to your thoughts and explore the resonance in your body. Explore the resonance in your body and see what thoughts may be paired with it. And I say that to say, for me, it's now way easier to feel into my body and then go fishing for the thought. 10 years ago, the thought was top of mind. Oh, I know what I'm thinking. Feeling? Oh, I gotta go. I'm busy. Feelings? No, I must have. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So I want to.
I was the same. I had the facade, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
everything looks amazing. Everything's bright and shiny on the outside. I'm like, don't get underneath here. If someone cried in front of me, I was like, oh, I'm out of here. Like,
oh really?
Yeah.
I would leave myself. Right. So if I was upset and someone else started crying, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to tell you that you hurt my feelings when you punched me in the face. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. It's okay. You're fine. It's okay. You can punch me in the face anytime you want.
Right.
Right. So a little anxious attachment, a little avoidant attachment, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah, right on. And here we are. So starting to see your own patterns is what I think we both just pointed to, right? How do you tend to react in body, spirit, mind to life? Life on the daily and when life gets lifey, right? When things start to happen, what is your knee-jerk reaction? And I think it's really important. People try to change habits, change ways of being, change patterns without really understanding where they're coming from. And I think it's a real lost opportunity, because seeing where we come from helps us to see our survival skills. Right. So all the things that we are all doing now, today, this morning, right, this afternoon, that don't serve us are for a really vital, important reason. And the main reason I talk about the nervous system, I always said semantics. That was cute. That was a really good joke. Somatics is because for me, it helps take away the blame and the guilt of reacting the way we do as adults today. Right? Because when you're like, oh, I'm the worst. No, baby. The way you're acting may not be most in service of the life you want to live and who you want to be, but you're unlikely a totally terrible person. It's probably just a survival skill you picked up in childhood.
Yeah. And remember, we're not our patterns. They're just patterns. We're not our patterns.
Oh, I love that. We are not our patterns. That's so beautiful, right? And the us that we most want to be lives under those patterns too, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we get to ask, what part of me believes that this pattern is really important to my survival? And how can I befriend, love, and care for that part so that I can step out of this pattern and into one that does actually serve me?
Right.
Right. And so, back to I love that you're asking a really practical question. Girl, how do we do this? I'm going to keep coming back and keep coming back. We start to get into conversation with ourselves. And I literally walk around the house all day talking out loud to myself and my parts of my body. That might not be everybody's jam to get started. But when you feel sad, ask yourself, where in my body is this sadness? Right. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Hey, sadness, what do you want for me? What do you want from me? How can I support you? And this is one that I've been asking a lot lately that's been really, really helpful. Are you sad about right now? Or are you sad because this feels like an old sad?
Right.
Oof, that has been so helpful. There was a little disagreement on Friday with my mentor. And I asked myself that question. I was like, anger, are you mad at the dude in front of you right now? And it was like, no, I'm projecting dad. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't mad at him, right? I was mad at the story that it provoked from 35 years ago.
Right.
More or less, right?
Yeah. No, I do something similar, but I do it eyes closed visually with my child, with my inner child. Because as you said, up till 7, this is where a lot of this is originated. So it's like, what do you need?
Yeah.
Why is this showing up? Why are we feeling this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And I love that you brought the concept of the inner child in. It is, for me and my work, has been so deeply healing, to get to know all the different, if you're using internal family systems language like parts or inner child or energetics, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But seeing those sweet, tender versions of us, it really stops me in my tracks of being mean to me. Like, I actually can't remember the last time I was like mean to me, because it is so imprinted that when I'm being mean to this grown woman in her 40s, I'm actually being mean to a little 6-year-old.
Yeah.
With little chubby cheeks and little blonde curls and like a little, she loved her little Girl Scout uniform so much. And like, really? You're going to call her an idiot?
Yeah.
You're going to be mean to her? She just spilled something. She just forgot a deadline. She's just human. And it really helps. And then the somatic of that is, how can you resonate that compassion, love, care, and curiosity into your body, right? And not just think the compassionate, caring thought, but feel the compassion and care for your little one.
Right.
Yeah.
And so do you have like a daily practice, or do you have something that helps you to do this? And do you have other practices that help you to maintain this, this body connection?
Yeah, right on. So one of the things I talk about a lot in my work is the difference between practice and praxis, Praxis. So when we're originally working with practices, with somatics, it's about practices, right? And I'd love to share one in just a second for your listeners that they can start to do right now. And it's so important to start with practices. So setting aside 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day, or at the top of the hour, I take one breath and ask my body how it's feeling, or do a body scan for 10 seconds at the top of the hour every hour. Whatever you choose to do towards the goal of living with somatic connection with your body, making that your praxis, making it the way you're living, not an event. And that took years, right? And it's a constant checking in and reminding myself, like, all right, Maria Victoria, check in, pause, breathe, connect. Where are your feet? It's a question I ask myself a lot. Where are your feet? Right? Where's your consciousness? Where's your connection with the earth? Where is the ground? Because when you get all spinny, or you're moving too fast, or you're disconnected, like, hey, where's the earth? It really helps me as a practice to come back into praxis. So daily practices that can be really helpful. I'll teach 2 if we have time.
Absolutely.
Oh, thanks. Okay. So the first, and this is one of my favorites, it's called This Is My Arm. And so you take one of your hands, and in this practice, I'm going to make the assumption, I'm going to come from my own position. I have access to movement in both of my hands and both of my arms. And so I'm going to come from that point of view because it's my point of view. Yeah. And if that's not what's available to you, fabulous. Let's adjust, right? And make it work for you in your magnificent body. So I take one of my paws and I take the other paw and I start to pat or rub the other hand, right? And go up my arm and I make declarations. This is my arm. This is my arm. This is my arm. And you see how the three intonations have a different tonality to them, a different vibration in the body, a different meaning. For most of my clients, my work is focused on what I call emotional outsourcing, codependent, perfectionist, and people-pleasing thought habits, which are all about outsourcing our sense of worth, value, and safety to everyone and everything outside of ourselves instead of it from ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so what my clients really love is, this is my arm, right? I am reclaiming this body. And so going up your arm, this is my arm. Go to your chest, this is my chest, right? Go down the other arm, and then you can do your perfect belly. This is my perfect belly. You know, the one that's supposed to have a pooch if there's a uterus in there? My darlings, it's your local primary care provider. These are my thighs. These are my hips, right? And I'll just go from the crown of my head to my toes, reclaiming this body as mine, this body as the seat of my wisdom, this body as the most magnificent gift I will ever have in this lifetime. Like, how lucky to be born a human, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my partner's a Buddhist and a Tibetan Buddhist, and she reminds me like every single day that the chance of being born a human in her lineage, that's really, really rare.
Yeah.
live it up, right? Like, you're not a slug this go around, she'll say. So, wow, you're a human. You have knees, right? Wow. So this practice is also invigorating, right? It's really nice for dropping in. Or if you want to move your hands really slowly, it can be very calming for a revved up nervous system. Finally, a little medical note, it's pretty great for the lymphatic system, right? To do some gentle, slow petting of your own arms, your own axilla, the sides of your body. So multifactorial benefits. It also just feels really nice, and it feels silly, which I think is really important, because we can get very like too serious about our healing.
Yeah.
Right.
And it also sounds like a great exercise to do naked in the morning.
Yes.
And so rather than going spiraling into the, oh my God, my belly and what, I've got my ass is too big or whatever, you can just go, no, this is my arm.
Oh, Natalie, I love that addition. That's fabulous. Yeah. That's really, I love that. Thank you. Yeah. True celebration. Yeah. Right on. So that is a beautiful daily practice. And it can also, you can do it at the grocery store, right? Like while you're waiting in line, you're starting to get stressed out, it's taking a little long. Just come back to your forearm. This is my hand. These are my fingers. You can do it driving the car. You can do it in LA traffic. You can do it waiting for the subway that's late in New York City. You can do it everywhere. Yeah. And then the second one is we're going to tap our fingers. And this is a really beautiful practice that you can do, again, like this is my arm, one way if you're feeling revved up, and another way if you're feeling shut down. So revved up again is sympathetic activation and adrenaline. Shut down is dorsal vagal, more of an acetylcholine state. And so if you are feeling really shut down, you're really checked out, and like, when you're, I don't know if this has ever happened for you, but sometimes if my partner and I are having like a really deep or challenging conversation, historically, I would just, wait, what did you, what? Right. And the nervous system is just like, girl, this is too much for you. I'm getting you out of here, darling. Getting out. You're leaving the room. Right. That happens less and less for me now that because I spend so much time regulating my nervous system, but that used to be very frequent. And so something you can do then is take a breath. When you recognize where your nervous system is, you can do this in front of other people because they won't know what you're doing. You could tell them what you're doing if it's that kind of a situation, or you can excuse yourself to the bathroom. Right. In the early days of regulating my nervous system, I think everyone around me thought I had a permanent UTI because I was like, I'm going to the bathroom, be right back. I'm going to the bathroom, be right back. I was just going to go like regulate my nervous system. But anyway, so you take one of your thumbs, you take your thumb and you tap your first finger, your second, your third, and your fourth in order. Yeah. And so if you're feeling shut down, you're going to do it with a quickness, and you're going to count your fingers as you go. So thumb to index finger 1, New York finger 2, ring finger 3, pinky 4, come back, pinky 4, ring, New York, index 1 2 3 4 4 3 2 1 1 2 3 4 4 3 2 1, and it kind of starts to pick you up, right? So you can do it with your hand under the table if you're at dinner. Like, you could do it anywhere to really help you sort of like, all right, come back to self, come back to self, come back to self. And sometimes I'll just do it without counting, and we'll use a little mantra like, come back to self, come back to self, come back to self, come back to self. Just do the movement. So too, if you're feeling revved up, freaked out, you can do it really slowly. 1 2 3 4, to start to calm the nervous system.
Right.
And so doing these sort of practices frequently is a beautiful way to drop in and to start to show your body that y'all are a team.
Yeah.
And that, right? And that maybe you spent the first 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years living from the neck up disconnected, but you're done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maria Victoria, it has been an incredible conversation today, as I knew it would be. And it's a subject that we haven't really spoken about before. So I know that our listeners will be really, excited to listen to this. So where can they contact you? Where can they reach out to you if they need to find out some more info?
Yeah, right on. So you can follow me on Instagram. I give good gram at Victoria Albina Wellness. So Natalie, I have a special treat just for you and your listeners. If you head over to victoriaalbina.com/NOJD for not over, just different, you can download a suite of meditations and nervous system orienting exercises for free, just for being a listener of the show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, darling, thank you so much for your time. If you're listening to the podcast, you'll find that link in the show notes as well. So you'll be able to instantly go there. And thank you for everything that you're doing to help us kind of drop in and live life in a more grounded way. We're talking about confidence before. Confidence doesn't have to be puffy. It can just be grounded. And I think that is like the way that we really want to navigate life. So. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.